Alright guys, so today I'm doing a book review. Now this book review is kind of odd for me because I'm normally used to doing reviews about knives where I make disturbing jokes about stabbing people. However, today, well, this is partly for a contest and also because, well, I am into fantasy and fantasy writings, and I figured I would give this a shot. So, to get down to specifics, the book I am interviewing is Inexperienced Mage, Part 1 of the Reawakening Saga, and it is by D.W. Jackson. Well, if you want to see what the book looks like, this is it. That's the cover. That's everything. Now, to give you a brief summary of what the book's about. Thousands of years after the Fae Wars, magic is now a thing of legend, and the once great empire is reduced to hundreds of separate countries. Farlan, a rich and powerful queendom, is one such country where men are treated as second-class citizens and often sold into slavery at an early age. Mark, a young man, has been trained since his childhood to be one of the most sought-after slaves produced by the Academy. It's not sports and outdoors. At an auction, he was purchased by the Queen, but on his way to the capital, they are attacked, allowing him to escape before he is permanently branded. Moo. During his escape, he comes across and starts his own self-tutelage. Okay, I totally messed up on that part. Okay, it says, he comes across a dilapidated tower and finds a book of magic and starts his own self-tutelage. Basically means he tutors himself in magical arts. Learning he has a talent for magic, he makes his way to the capital to see if he can make his own path while holding on to his freedom along the way. Now, through all of this, a bunch of different things happen. Like, the reason why the Queen bought him, for instance, is because he was essentially arguably the best swordsman, blade person, fighter in the Academy. And she wanted him as a slave slash bodyguard to protect the princess from threats. The whole irony behind this, when the carriage is attacked, in the future he kind of ends up doing that anyway, ironically. Unintentionally. But I'll get to that in a moment. So basically, after he escapes the caravan, he finds this tower, he falls to the floor and just starts studying all these books, you know, that are there, the ones that don't disintegrate in the dust when you touch them. And he finds a dagger that can cut through metal, and he uses that to cut the shackles off his hands and feet. And basically, he then sets out to try to make it back to the capital to see if maybe he could possibly make a living for himself, which is actually really hard for a person who is a male in the country of Farlan, because the Queen is pretty sexist. Anyway, basically, he meets this woman who is a tradesperson with the Rose Trading Company. And she essentially takes him in as a fellow tradesman and quote-unquote brother, and does him the favor of changing his name to Thaddeus once he tells her a story. So Mark turns into Thaddeus. I can't remember his full title, but I know his name gets changed to Thaddeus of the Rose Trading Company. that happens, and as he goes into the capital, he sees the princess being attacked by some thugs. He dispatches of a few of them and saves her life, and ironically they end up becoming friends, and he ends up helping her, and he essentially fulfills his duty he was supposed to as a slave, even though he's a free man now. And he essentially tries to help the queen in secretive ways by and possibly trying to change her heart, but I'm just going to say that doesn't work out as well as he had planned. Because it's a queendom, you may ask, okay, well, how does he get around? Well, basically, he uses his magic to make his body look like a woman. Well, kind of like a hologram over his face. He still has to wear a dress. It doesn't change his man parts. It just changes everything else. It was a very interesting read. If you're a fan of fantasy novels like Dragonlance or Landover or Shannara, or can't really compare this to Harry Potter. Harry Potter's Harry Potter. I can't think of any other stories to really compare this to, but I will say he took there was a different take on from the traditional look of a mage. Traditional mages, they draw from a magical force called mana to get their power. In this book, it's kind of like a mage mixed with a sorcerer, because they kind of draw from the energies around them. And sorcerers draw from the energies around them to use magic. They just kind of, oh look, there's an unlimited supply of energy. Lightning from my hands, fire from the sky, earthquake, summon monsters to attack my enemies. Yeah, that's kind of like what sorcerers do, and it's kind of similar, except kind of staying true to the mage format. He wears a cloak and he has a staff, and he puts a lot of jewels and stuff and uses different types of wood to harness the magic better and make it easier for him to harness the magic. So he's a mage, but not a mage in the more traditional sense, which I'm okay with, because it's nice to have a new, fresh take on things and have like some alternate reality where things are different, because if everything was the same all the time, it would get boring. So the book itself was a good read. If you're looking for a book that doesn't take too long to read and will take you about, if you read a chapter a day, this book is 11 chapters long, including the epilogue, so it would take you less than 2 weeks to read it. You could probably knock it out in a week and one day if you're like a really fast reader or a really avid reader and you just like sit and dig in a book. I mean, the book itself is only 170 pages. Yeah. It's 170 pages exactly. Some people could knock a 170-page book out in a day. Now, most children's books are this length, but I really wouldn't consider this a children's book because of some of the content, not just the political and magical occult content either. Just well, it doesn't really have quote-unquote occult content. It's more like, it has like magical content, and some people are opposed to that kind of thing. So if that's something that bothers you, you may want to just stay away from this altogether. But it was not a bad read. I liked it. I enjoyed it. The story was pretty well written. The only issues I had with it were that one of the funniest things to see is a mage trying to do a spell and something going wrong, but it's comical. That really wasn't in here. It was actually a very, very serious task to do that, because if he had too much energy pulsing through his body than he could handle, like his nose would start bleeding and he would get like really tired and he would like pass out, or if he did it for too long he could possibly die. There were a few times when, I think like 1 or 2 times where the princess had to rush in and save him because he was about to go overboard in his magic use. Oh yeah, and also there was one part where this girl walked in with his family. He ended up staying out before he met the lady with the Rose Trading Company. I'm not going to talk too much about them though, because that would go into some spoilers. But it was good for what it was. If I were to rate this book on a scale of 1 to 5 in stars, I would give this probably about 3.5 stars. Alright, if you're interested in buying this book or any of D.W. Jackson's books, there is a link to buy his books from his Amazon store in the link below. Now, just to let you know, the majority of the Reawakening saga is not really available on paper-bound format anymore, but you can still download it through Kindle format. If you have a Kindle, if you don't have a Kindle, there's an app you can download that'll make it so you can read the books on your computer. Right now there's 2 omnibuses. This is a 6-part series. There's an omnibus for 1 through 3 and 4 through 6. And in total it's about close to $20, which is a lot better deal than paying $7 a pop for $6, which is $42. Way better deal. That was my book review. Check it out if you're interested. If you like fantasy novels and stuff, or if you just want to try something different, check it out. I recommend it. If you liked my review, then please like, share, and subscribe. And check out the link for D.W. Jackson's store. Have a nice day and a Happy New Year.